it's a really cool thing that you can do. Oh my god, look at that beautiful sun. You see how that is in my face? Oh my god, that's amazing. I live in Sweden, so we don't have sun. Basically, we have sun like 4 months per year. That is so sad, because one thing we've learned from the scientist like Andrew Huberman, he said that we really need sunlight, which is true, because we all get into a depressive state when it's when it's winter. So this is life quality. Let's go into the secret to chord tones. What I think is really important when talking about chord tones is the fact that they are, like, the way you should learn them should be in a playing context. Because, like, the thing that I'm playing here, that's like, it's in a context of actually improvising. Like, I could do that in a solo, but you couldn't do like a normal chord tone exercise in a solo. The things you practice will be the stuff that comes out in your playing. So you might as well practice the stuff that you will play live, okay? With that said, the bebop way of doing it, the appropriate way to approach the different chord tones, that's a very good question. And that's something that I thought about a lot when I started out. And I realized that some chords don't really work with, like, they don't have the same logic when it comes to chord tones. So basically, what's important is you learn the chord tones. First of all, learn the chord tones. Like, if you have a C major, learn like actually learn where the third is and where the fifth is, and also the one. Learn the third, the fifth, and the one everywhere, okay? Learn it everywhere on the guitar so you have it. And I'm not gonna go into like an exercise in learning where they are. I assume you already know where they are, but you want to know how to like make it more musical and like how to find them in different ways, and basically learn them in different positions so you're flexible. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you some examples of what I mean, okay? So imagine you have a C major 7. Okay, so you have a C major 7. And in that C major 7, you have different kind of approach notes you can use here, okay? So if we're gonna use the third, which is a really good chord tone, okay, you have it here, you have it here, you have it here, okay? And those are like the spots you should be aware of. Okay, when you're in a major 7 chord, like a C major like that, you should always know that's the third, okay? And also here, because then the thing is, the approach lick phrase that works really good over a major 7 chord is this. Okay, and you probably heard that before, but it's like, okay, so what you want to do is you want to have it here, you want to have it here, you want to have it here. And then you want to do like, you can do the fifth before, so you do, right? Open string. Okay, so that's a really good way of like playing the third on a major chord, major 7 chord. So I would really recommend doing that, like using that in your practice. So that's like a really like normal bebop phrase chord tone thing that you, when you get comfortable with that, you can use it in your playing immediately. And so basically, third, fifth, and ninth. Okay, so that was the third, and imagine how you do that with the fifth too. So the fifth is here, and the fifth is here, and it's here. That means you can do the same phrase, but to the fifth. Okay? Alright? So that means you have the third, and you have, okay? So those two are really good to have. So basically that makes you can create licks that are like, but you don't necessarily want to play like that. That will sound really weird if you're like, you don't want to play that. You can do that as an exercise, but what it does is, what I find is you don't want to play, but what you can do is like do this. Because that's another approach note, okay? So instead of doing, I did, so that's also, you go up a whole step, you go down a half step, and you approach it like that. So that would be like that. That's a better way of, in a musical setting, you can literally do. And then you can do, or you can do this. You can do it. I'd actually think that if you do it the other way around, it will sound better. So if you do this, you see how you can get fast. So you can get those licks inside of your, and then you can do. Okay, so that's another variation that is really nice to have. And then you can do. You see how that's like the bebop sound? It's because, so they're not thinking about like, oh, scale, like this has nothing to do with scales. It's just chord tones and approach notes, which is a part of the jazz language, okay? So this is really, really valuable information here. So that was basically the third and fifth. So basically you have different ways of approaching the notes, okay? So you have, okay, so we have, and, okay, so you can mix them. You see? So yeah, so that's a really cool thing that's really helped me to realize like how different ways of approaching the note. And then we also have the ninth, which is a really, really nice sound. And I think the ninth, I think it doesn't sound like you can't, this is like the thing with what I realized is you can't really do, you can do, but it's like, it's I don't know why, but it's just not, it's not that nice. It's just like it sounds a little weird because it's like, what I'd rather do is, so that's like, Okay, so when you approach the ninth, you want to do like, because that's like how the ninth sounds good is from the flat 13 of the G7. Wait, let me explain this a little better. So the ninth, you can do that actually. That sounds pretty good. So you can do that kind of thing. Okay, I want you to learn that, okay? Do that. This is really nice. But the ninth is like, you hear that? How that tension, ninth. So that I really like that phrase. You can do that too, but I would not do, you see, because it's like, it doesn't really work. So that's just something that you will also, this is like something that it's also like my opinion that it doesn't work. But this is also something that you will realize when you start, when you transcribe more and you will like listen to people, and you will realize that when approaching the ninth, people do certain things. And when approaching the third, people do certain things. And when it's a minor chord, people do certain things. So that's like also something that comes when you just keep listening and will like, when you keep doing the stuff. So that was for major 7 chord. Now, if we would do this for minor, now let's do C minor. Then I wouldn't do, for the minor third, you can't do. That's really weird, okay? I mean, that's not something that I've heard people do at all. But what people do though is, so that kind of approach thing, to approaching the fifth like that, that's really cool. That's really cool. So do this. Let's do the third. So this is the minor third, right? You do start here. And the things you can do. You saw that? And then you do that fifth thing, which was the same as for the C major. You see, this is no scale. This is not scales. This is just language. And then you can do. This is like the same concept which I did before, but now it's over a minor chord. Fifth. So what you want to do is you want to be able to start here and work your way down to here. Okay? That's the best thing I want you to take away from this video. Start from here, work your way down here, and make it sound swinging, like. You saw that? No scales were used in this video, except for like, everything is derived from a scale, so I'm just lying to you a little bit, but you know that, you see what I'm saying here, right? And then when you go to the 9, you can do like, if you want to go to the 9, you can be like, okay? You see? You see, you can do all sorts of stuff with this, and this is just like me trying to come up with like, okay, what do they do on the recordings? Well, they do that kind of stuff. And that's like starting to mix actually like a scale and just like. But the approach was this third of C minor, right? So you can do that. You see how that's like a variation? Like you could do. This lick works over minor and major because it's like the fifth. 1/5. Okay? So it's really, really nice information to have. And the same goes for dominant 7 chords. You have, I mean, it's the same concept, really. If you have a C7 now, okay? Okay, it's the same thing. Okay? But here also, the thing is, you know how you convert to, how I always talk about converting to minor, because the C7 is the same as a G minor. So if you would think about this as a G minor instead, you can do that same thing we talked about in C minor, but you do it here. Okay, so you can just move your hand just to see how it is. Imagine we have a C7. You can think of the approach notes we did earlier, and then you can do stuff like this. So that's basically, so you can do that same thing in C7, you can do that here. Okay, so when you have C7, you can do approach notes, but you're thinking G minor. But also you want to be aware of where the third of C is. Okay, you want to know that, so you can do like. You see? So you can use the G minor thing, but you also want to be aware of, okay, so the sixth of G minor is the third of C. So you basically have. You want to emphasize the right notes, right? So yeah, so I think that's a really good thing to do. Let's go to the next slide. The jazz language is literally emphasizing chord tones, okay? So the rhythm is essential. So that is like a really, really important thing. a really important thing. And I wrote down ghost rhythms. It makes people fill in the blanks. A common piano thing. Barry Harris, Bud Powell usually do that. So ghost rhythms, I really love that concept of ghost rhythms. I just like came up with a word. Maybe people have talked about it before. I know people have talked about it before, but like the concept of ghost rhythm is basically doing like, you see, you almost filled in the blank. Instead of playing, you play. It's like you're almost like you can almost hear the, but you're not playing it, and that makes you fill in the blank. It makes it sound like authentic almost. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't usually do it, but like it's a really cool thing that you can do. It's like that thing. Instead of playing. You see? Instead of playing, you can play. Instead of playing, you play. And that's a really cool thing. So if that makes sense, I really like that sound. I'm not really good at it, but I don't practice it that much, but I kind of know the idea of it. And it's like, you can hear piano players do that all the time. It's like this sloppy thing, which is sloppy, but it's still like, it's still language. It's authentic. It's cool. So yeah, and you can do this, you can practice this like in a 2-5-1 way, in doing like, if you have a D minor, G7, C major 7, you can do like the things we did, because now you have minor and you have dominant and you have major and minor. If it's a minor 2-5-1, the same concept applies, except you don't want to emphasize the notes that are flattened here. That we can take in another video, but in the forms of a major 2-5-1, you can do. So sit like that. That's a very good way of doing it. Like, just sit like that and try to get the different chord tones down like that. And then you just choose, okay, now I want to do that approach note. This is a really good exercise. You can do approach note to the 1. There are so many things you can do. That's a little more out, but you can do so many things. Okay. Then you can do that, like if you want to play more eighth notes, you can do. That was just approach notes. I went to the 9th there. You can just lie there, and just chill there. 9th. You see? So you could do 3rd of G, Okay, so these are really good. You see, those licks are so like classic. Well, they derive from this thinking. So yeah, if that makes sense, I hope it does. And listen and replicate, literally. So that's literally what I have to say. Listen and replicate, and you will get melodic gains. So when you listen to recordings, you will get melodic gains if you listen and then you try to like realize that, okay, that they did. I heard Sonny Clark. I heard one pianist, which stick to me. He did some. He did. Something like that, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that's what he did. So he did that thing, remember? And I heard this from a record, okay? How cool is that? And that's all from just like listen, replicate, and now, okay. So I realize how I can move now because I transcribed him and I made an exercise out of what he did. And now suddenly I'm practicing the jazz language while I'm practicing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of practicing like some weird exercise, I'm literally making an exercise out of what I hear in the recordings. And that's what I want you to take away from this video. I hope this helps. Join GuitArmin School before it's full. We're now 3 people and I have a limit of 10 people. So join. We have discussions. We'll have private lessons. We'll have Zoom calls. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll learn guitar. We'll learn about mental health. We'll learn about a lot of things. So join before it's full. And I hope I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.